For the people who are listening and maybe are struggling with managing their emotions, maybe not getting the results that they want in their relationships or in their jobs or whatever, can you just kind of go through what changed and how?
For me, what changed was basically just, you know, hearing. First of all, it started with me hearing the same things over and over about how I'm acting, how I make people feel, right? And then which we've said a lot. If enough people call you a horse, it's time to buy a saddle, right? And the people that were telling me this are people that I love, people that I don't want to hurt, people that I have no intention of making feel bad in any way or whatever. But sometimes, in anger, I would say things, and and I would just say things that that would be hurtful or whatever, and sarcastic, whatever it is, just not making people feel great, right? And then people will be on edge with me, and plus I'm a big guy, so like when I start like speaking in a loud way, I'm not always aware that it's like, oh, people are already a fucking on edge because I'm just this enormous guy that it's like, what, like it's like if you raise a gorilla, right, from a baby, and now he's a 800-pound gorilla, right? And it's like, how strong this motherfucker is. It's like, what happens if he just swings his arm one day, right? Yeah. So that's the kind of nervousness that I bring to people. I just don't realize it that's the case. So, I've never swung and I never hit anybody. That's not the point. The point is that I do make people nervous. And so the issue is that at one point I had to accept that. I had to accept, okay, so what do I do now? And then part of what I had to do was just be mindful of what I'm doing, and start paying attention to the things that I say and the things that I think, and then just like really like examine them, just. I'll give you a perfect example of what I mean. There were things that were making me angry. I had a conversation with you about silly things that my mom would say or whatever. And it's been sort of like that for my whole life. Like she would just say something that was silly. She didn't mean anything by it. It was just a silly thing she would ask. And I would get upset about it. I was like, why would you ask me that? It's just so ridiculous. I go, are you going to put ketchup on your fries? The f*** do you care if I'm putting ketchup on my fries for? So like I would get up in arms about that. Like, what was the point? You know why my mother's asking that? So she can get the ketchup for me. That's it. That's all she was asking me for. Are you going to put ketchup on your fries so I can go and get the ketchup for you? But God, I want to get
annoying woman.
I want to get upset about that, right? And it's like, because like it's like I got it. I don't need you to like wait on me hand and foot and everything, like whatever. But the fact that somebody's asking you that, right? And you're getting upset about that. It's not because of what she said. It's because of how I interpret that. Right. And so everything came down to what I am interpreting, what I am taking from it. I decided that was a silly question. It isn't a silly question, right? It was a caring question. And so I needed to decide that that's what it was. And as soon as I decided that that's what it was, my perspective changed. And so everything in my life became about that. It became about listening to what I'm thinking and what I'm saying. And does it make sense? Is that a hill I want to die on? Right? Because there are things that are important to me that I will not allow. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain boundaries within relationships and things like that, they're, okay, this is not what we cross. We don't got to go fucking blow up about it or whatever. But the idea is that you listen to it, you re-examine, re-evaluate things in your life, because a lot of the things that I realized that I was holding on to and a lot of the things that I was being angry about, it was stuff that I've probably made up when I was 13. So I'm consulting a 13-year-old into how I should be reacting to something, and I'm a grown man. I'm 43 years old, and it's like, this is not the way this should be, right? So when you start to re-examine these beliefs in your head, whatever they are, and you do it with a sound mind and really just be honest with yourself, like, hey, if you're wrong, you're wrong, and that's okay, accept that, and then figure out a better way to interpret something, right? And the less the more that you do that, the more the habit that you do that, I find myself doing it all the time now. Everything from how I talk to my coworkers, how I talk to the people I manage, how I talk to everybody. My mom, my brother. My relationships are better overall. I don't get into tiffs with anybody anymore, right? Because it was a decision that I made, and it was evaluations that I decided to do. I'm not a superhero. I'm not a genius. I'm not anything that would give me an exception to what to accomplish this. It was just a decision, and it's as
Right.
easy as anything I've ever done.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. And of course, these are the things that we talk about all the time. And everything you said is if people look back at our episodes, you're going to see these conversations
Yeah.
over and over again, because ultimately nothing in your world changed.
Exactly.
The only thing that changed is how you were looking at the world. And when you changed how you were looking at the world, suddenly you had new reactions to your world.
Yeah.
And suddenly your world had new reactions to your new reactions,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So everything changes when you stop and understand everything that you just described. It was spot on. You started off with, hey, I'm going to take feedback from the people who care about me and the people who love me, who obviously have my best interest in heart.
Right.
They're not looking to hurt me. They have no agenda. They just want me to be as good a person as I can be. So they're giving me this feedback and saying, hey man, the way you're behaving is challenging,
Right.
or at worst it's hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
So you first have to be able to accept that kind of feedback, and then acknowledge that it's a problem, right? And then go about addressing the problem. And the only way to address the problem, and again, you described this beautifully, is to reconsider how you're thinking about the things that they brought up.
Precisely. Yeah.
Like what a beautiful way to manage your emotions than the example that you gave about you and your mother. Here you were just being like, oh my God, this bitch is annoying me.
Yeah.
Why is she asking me about the fucking ketchup? I don't give a shit.
Right.
But then it was like, oh my God, she just wanted to know if she needs to get me ketchup. Like, what a loving gesture that is.
Right.
What a caring person she is.
Yeah. That's
And
all it was.
And so her side of the equation didn't change at all. She's still doing what she's doing, but because you're seeing it differently, because you gave it a new definition, suddenly it's a whole new world.
Right.
Right? That's fucking amazing. And then of course is the discipline and consistency of making sure that you're constantly monitoring yourself. And when I say that, it's not like it's an arduous task. It's not like you get to the end of the day going, oh my God, I'm exhausted from paying attention to the shit that comes out of my mouth. No, it's just you're mindful. Another perfect way to describe that. You're just being mindful. I believe wholeheartedly in mindfulness. I know that mindfulness changed my entire life. Okay? So all it is, hey, I'm going to pay attention to the moment, whatever moment I'm in.